What is former President Trump's biggest accomplishment? And when I say biggest accomplishment, I mean most memorable achievement, his legacy. How you guys doing? Once again, it's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. And yes, as you can see, we're going to be talking about the legacy that President Trump left behind and what he could or should be remembered for. Now, spoiler alert, even coming from a liberal, this is not going to be what you think. We're not here to take digs at Trump or any of that. We're going to be just simply talking about legacy, memorable achievements. The moment you think about Trump and what did he leave behind, or what would you most remember him for, a lot of right-wingers, first thing comes to mind is this.
Build that wall, build that wall, build that wall, build that wall, build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
Now, obviously, building a wall was one of his signature campaign promises. And yeah, that is something that we would probably remember him for, at least for those of us who lived through the campaign, watched the videos, watched the debates and things like that. However, Joe Biden has quickly proven that, that pretty much can be disassembled and taken apart, which he has already done. I mean, the wall immediately was halted in production, halted in construction, and yeah, that's all but pretty much terminated under the Biden administration. So what else would we look at? The economy, we could certainly look at that. The inflation under Biden has increased substantially. Goods and services are costing a lot, no matter where you're in America, and that's being brought up all over the place. In fact, it's making poll numbers on Biden horrendous. We're expected to lose the midterms, and yeah, it's questionable if President Biden will even seek re-election in 2024. So what else would we look at? Well, we talk about or joke around about, I would love to get a mean tweeting $1 or $2 gas right now. Gas prices were certainly lower under President Trump than they are now. Now, being a liberal, I could rebut and, suggest that during the pandemic, no one was driving. The supply for fuel was much less. And of course, that's going to bring down the price. But I'm one that I often say on this channel, I tend to believe that whatever happens under your watch, good or bad, you get credit for it. And under Trump's watch, the cost of fuel was certainly cheaper than it is under Biden. Now, once again, just like with the wall, the economy and gas prices are not necessarily a memorable legacy because the next president has the ability to F up any progress you may have made. So when I say lasting, most memorable legacy, I mean something that he has done that for the most part cannot be messed up. Now, a good example of that would be the president before him, President Barack Obama, putting in place Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act. Now, that is his lasting legacy. And what I mean by that is it's very difficult to screw up a legacy. And what I mean when I say a legacy is because regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, Republican or Democrat, if you put something in that is widely favored, it is very difficult to remove it. Now, Trump has something like that also, and we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, once again, I'm going to give you an example of why I say it is difficult to replace.
When we win on November 8th, and elect a Republican Congress, we will be able to immediately repeal and replace Obamacare. Have to do it.
Now, that's clearly Trump, the candidate, making a promise that when he wins office in 2016, and he wins with a Republican Congress and Republican Senate, which he successfully did, he was going to repeal and get rid of Obamacare. And as you can see, looking back, now that we are able to Monday morning quarterback this, he was not able to successfully do that. Because when you put a legacy in place that people tend to favor, it is very difficult to get rid of it. And there are a lot of Republicans that were utilizing and still are utilizing the Affordable Care Act. So despite widespread popularity of President Trump among his supporters and Republicans, he didn't have the support among his own party to get rid of Obamacare. At best, he could improve it, But once the people got used to getting health care for affordable prices and insulin and prescriptions and things like that were given to them by Obama, Trump couldn't get rid of it no matter what he wanted to do. So, like I said, Trump also has something like that. We're going to talk about that in a quick second. And yeah, so it's very difficult to get rid of a legacy. So what is the legacy of Trump? Well, there is something we could talk about that has not quite fully been implemented, but it certainly could end up being a long-lasting legacy of President Trump. And that is the Space Force. Now, when he came up with the idea or started releasing press releases of the idea, it sounded ridiculous, sounded like something straight from Star Trek. But there is no doubt that space being conquered is going to be the future high ground for domination or superpower status. I mean, even as we speak, they're shooting down satellites and things like that to test that, because whoever has the high ground has a lot of advantage in any type of military conflict. So it's not like the Space Force is not necessary. And once this is implemented, it was brought to us by Trump. That is a lasting legacy. And just like with Obamacare, doesn't matter how much a Democrat dislikes Space Force, it would be impossible to disband that, because the country is going to unilaterally agree that, we need this. This is, you need to be able to protect the high ground. So, a legacy is something that is very difficult to get rid of. Now, they got uniforms for this already. They have official flag and things like that. But that has not been fully implemented. So this is not where I would say that his long-lasting legacy is. Where his legacy is where you guys are probably not going to like it. You know what Trump's most long-lasting legacy is that is going to be very difficult to get rid of? It's the vaccine. It is the vaccine. Once again, just like with Obamacare and like I mentioned before, the Space Force, this is something that regardless if you are Republican or Democrat, you cannot get rid of this. There are going to be children being vaccinated for years to come. And believe it or not, Operation Warp Speed, that was brought to us by President Trump. So the vaccine is his signature legacy that will be with us forever. It could be generations of Americans being vaccinated to protect them from COVID. And that vaccine was brought to us by President Trump. Now, here's the oddity, or what's ironic about it, is that because Trump had such a fiery relationship with the institutions, Dr. Fauci, and those who brought us the vaccine, it's his baby, but he cannot really take credit for it. And as I showed a video yesterday of him sitting on the Candace Owens show and telling her the benefits of being vaccinated, he has ostracized a lot of his own supporters to the point where even though he wants to promote the vaccine, he's promoting it to a group of supporters that view it as if it's poison. So this is his legacy, but unfortunately, because of his relationship with the creators of the vaccine and to some degree even the vaccine itself, he cannot take credit for something that will be utilized by hundreds of millions of Americans for indefinitely. I mean, literally indefinitely. We do not know how long people are going to be being vaccinated. Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson, all of that stuff happened under Trump's watch. And it's ironic that he cannot take, or he does not get substantial credit for it simply because of how it was rolled out, with him being kind of on the opposite side of supporting it. A lot of this is due to what I mentioned earlier: economy, gas prices, keeping the economy open and keeping the country open, which are all temporary things. He wanted to maintain that to be able to have a legacy of, giving us a good economy. But 30, 40 years from now, nobody's talking about the economy under any president in the past. What was the economy like under Bill Clinton? Yeah, they mention it every now and then, but that's not a long-lasting legacy. Bringing America a vaccine that potentially saved the lives of millions of Americans that the medical community wholeheartedly supports, that is a long-lasting legacy. because, like I just said, it will be continued to be used decades from now. Trump's economy will be meaningless 20 years from now. It will be a conversation piece at best. They probably will still be using that vaccine, just like Obamacare in some form or another will still be around. So that by far is Trump's legacy, most memorable achievement. Now, being a liberal, I'm not going to bring up January 6th and all that, because this is not that type of video. We're talking about achievements and accomplishments. And yeah, so I would love to hear what you guys think. I'm sure some of you guys disgruntled about this, because if you're on the right, you probably don't trust the vaccine, even though the guy you wholeheartedly support is now going around the country promoting it. Unfortunately, it took him a long time to do that. And by the time that he did start promoting the vaccine that he brought us, President Biden was in office and now taking credit for getting everybody vaccinated. But make no mistake about it, the vaccine is Trump's baby. That vaccine would not be around without Operation Warp Speed. And you're talking about bringing a vaccine to millions of people in the span of about 9 months. And it's looking like it's successful. I mean, the rate of COVID, better yet, the rate of COVID deaths, the numbers are coming down. And the medical community is not attributing this to herd immunity or natural immunity or any of the things that some of the right-wing detractors or anti-vaxxers are saying. The medical community is attributing the falling numbers of COVID deaths to the vaccine. Trump should be getting credit for that. But like I said, once again, he cannot even go to a rally of his own supporters and bring that up without getting booed. I showed you the video yesterday of him talking to Candace Owens, and that was a laughable event. And before that, he is currently on tour with Bill O'Reilly, and he also told the attendees at that meeting that they should get vaccinated, and they booed Trump. So yeah, he's created a monster in this, but it's unfortunate that he can't take credit for something that, yeah, it's his biggest accomplishment, longest lasting achievement. But I'd love to know what you guys think. What would you say? What would you list as Trump's biggest achievement, most memorable accomplishment? We're talking positive things, folks. We're not talking about negatives. And yeah, there are negatives that will make the history books on Trump, no doubt, but that's not what this video is about. Love to hear from you. This is your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I will catch you in the next video.